I was 16 in my junior year of high school. The day was split into 9 periods, with lunch during 5th period, followed by my astronomy class. This class was held in one of 2 classrooms located in the basement of the school. The basement had a strange, eerie vibe when it was empty. Originally designed as a janitorial space, it had been renovated to look more like a regular hallway, but it was still isolated. There were no intercoms or loudspeakers down there. Because of that, no classes were scheduled there for the first period when morning announcements were made. The area became known among students as the Chamber, and everyone tried to get classes down there since it was air-conditioned and easier than the ones upstairs. Plus, it had its own bathroom. That day, we had a quiz in astronomy. I usually finished first, as the class was easy for me. After completing my quiz, I texted my friend, who was in the other basement class, to meet me in the bathroom since I was bored. He replied, "Okay." I left the classroom and headed down the short hallway to the bathroom. A few seconds later, my friend JJ walked in. We joked around for a while until JJ checked his phone and told me he got a text saying the school was going into lockdown. We exchanged grins. Since neither of our teachers saw us leave, we figured we had free rein over the school during the lockdown. We decided to sneak upstairs and wander around for fun. The worst-case scenario was that we'd just say we didn't hear the announcements from the basement. But when we opened the door leading to the main floor, we noticed the lights were off, and the hallways were nearly pitch black except for the light coming through the lobby doors. This felt serious. Usually the lights stayed on during lockdowns, so something was definitely going on. JJ stepped out into the hallway, and I followed behind him. Suddenly, JJ pointed down the hall and asked, "Who's that?" I looked and saw a man emerging from the darkness. At first, we weren't sure if he was a teacher, but as he got closer, we realized he wasn't dressed like staff at all. He looked like a homeless person. I told JJ, "Let's go," and we quickly headed back down to the basement. Whoever this guy was, he definitely saw us. Both of the basement classrooms had their doors shut and lights off, so to avoid any drama, we decided to hide in the bathroom. I immediately turned off the light, and we both crouched in the corner stall. The silence in the bathroom was unsettling. No ventilation, no heaters, just the sound of our breathing and the occasional drip from the sink. Suddenly the bathroom door opened and light from the hallway briefly illuminated the room before it closed again, plunging us back into darkness. We could hear slow, deliberate footsteps moving toward our side of the bathroom. The person stopped, breathing heavily as if out of breath. JJ and I were terrified. Then JJ did something foolish. He whispered in my ear, "We need to crawl out through the other stalls." But in the dead silence of the room, even his whisper could be heard across the bathroom. The heavy breathing stopped, and the person began pushing on the stall door. I whispered, "Go, go," to JJ, and we both crawled under the dividers to the next stall, then the next, finally making it to the far side of the bathroom. Behind us, the person started banging on the stall door. We jumped up, rushed out the door, and were greeted by the light flooding back in. The man from upstairs was standing in the corner of the room. Word pounded on the door to JJ's classroom until the teacher let us in. JJ quickly explained the situation while the teacher locked the door, adding that the man had a gun sticking out of his pocket. I was shocked because I hadn't noticed a gun, but I went along with what JJ said. Usually, a scene like this would have classmates laughing, but the other students sitting in the corner looked genuinely worried. A loud bang on the classroom door made everyone jump, and a few girls let out scared shrieks. JJ, the teacher, and I saw the man standing at the door, peering in through the window and jiggling the handle. After a few more frustrated bangs, he turned and walked back down the hall toward the stairs. I'm not sure how much longer the lockdown lasted, but we stayed silent in that room for over an hour, with the teacher occasionally asking JJ and me questions, shaking his head in disbelief at our answers. Eventually, someone called the teacher from upstairs, and we were instructed to file out of the building where the police were waiting for us. JJ and I described the man to the cops and the dean as best we could. One officer patted me on the back, and we were sent home. I'm a retired police officer from New Jersey, and in my 20 years on the force, the most unsettling call I ever responded to was a school lockdown. I won't name the middle school for legal reasons, but it took place on a stormy, dark day. I got the call over the radio, asking me to respond to a lockdown where a suspicious man had been seen getting out of a white van parked behind the school and entering through the rear door near the boys' locker room. When I arrived, I parked beside the white van. All the doors were locked, and no one was inside. I made my way into the school through the back door leading into the gym hallway, right by the locker rooms. The main lights were off, and the entire building was shrouded in darkness. I grabbed my flashlight and moved through the halls, eventually making it to the lobby where a woman came out from the front office. She quietly told me to check the boys' locker room, warning me that the person could be armed. I radioed for backup and was assured they were on the way. Returning to the hallway, I found the boys' locker room near the exit. I pushed the door open cautiously. The room had no windows, leaving it pitch black except for my flashlight. A vent was running overhead, providing a faint white noise, but I could also hear soft scraping sounds or faint taps on the lockers. Even though I was supposed to announce my presence, fear held me back. The tension in the room was overwhelming. With my flashlight in one hand and my gun in the other, I crept toward the other side of the room. It seemed like the noises were always coming from the opposite end, no matter where I was. I stood near the bathroom door when a loud slam of a locker door echoed from the adjacent football locker room, making my heart race. I moved toward the noise, discovering that the sound had come from the larger football locker room. There wasn't a door separating the two rooms, just larger lockers ahead. Summoning my courage, I finally announced myself, "Police!" Immediately, a muffled scream for help came from somewhere in the room. A kid started banging on a locker door just beyond the row I was standing in. When I realized a boy was trapped inside a locker, a wave of nausea hit me. I reassured him I'd be right back, quickly radioing for backup again and running outside to where the van had been. It was gone. Regrettably, I hadn't taken down the plate number when I first arrived. I alerted dispatch to be on the lookout for a suspicious white van, then rushed back inside. I instructed the front office staff to end the school day and send someone with a key to unlock the boy's locker. The child had been held at knife point, and from what I pieced together, the man was attempting to get the 12-year-old to his van. The boy had cuts on his arm from resisting. A week later, the van was spotted in a 7-Eleven parking lot, where the man was arrested after being identified. I was staying at a Hampton Inn in New Jersey while visiting Rowan University, a college I was considering attending. My family couldn't join me, so I was alone. After touring the campus, I grabbed dinner at a nearby restaurant before heading back to the hotel around 8 p.m., planning to return to campus the next day. About an hour after I got to my room, an unfamiliar alarm went off, and a white light started flashing in the corner of the ceiling. A voice looped over a speaker, saying something like, "All Hampton Inn guests, please remain in your rooms. This is a lockdown." I had never heard of a hotel going into lockdown before, and the whole situation seemed more intriguing than frightening. After the alarm stopped, the light continued to flash every few seconds, and the message repeated regularly. It was still early, around 9:30, so I turned on the TV while I brushed my teeth and got ready for bed. Once I settled in under the covers, I turned off the TV. But the constant flashing light was making it hard to relax. I thought about calling the front desk to ask what was happening when the phone rang. It was someone from the front desk. I expected them to explain the alarm, but instead the voice on the other end sounded tense. They told me to remain calm and to leave my room immediately. Confused, I asked what was going on. The woman then told me that someone was in my room with me and I needed to get out now. I dropped the phone and started frantically looking around. My first instinct was to check under the bed and in the bathroom, but there was no one in either place. Then I noticed the closet door slightly ajar, just a small crack. Through it I could see part of a face. The authorities arrived and escorted the man out in handcuffs. He was in his 40s, shorter, and when he passed by me it was like he knew exactly who I was. Looking back, it chills me to think that he may have been watching me for over an hour from inside that closet.